wet weather, a little bit chilly out there as well, so dry and warm. I still see people coming in. Okay, this is great. Glad for the attendance and the interest. Again, this is our town hall. We're doing quarterly town halls. This is our winter quarter town hall, and we're focusing in on payroll. This is an opportunity for people to ask questions, but also to hear from us kind of what payroll is up to. But also at times, if you want to ask a question, the Q&A is available for you to type into, and we will go through that during the webinar, during the hour we have together. And I know that some people gave some questions beforehand, so they're probably incorporated into the presentation, but we'll also make sure that we answer those as well. So it looks like we're still having people come in, which is great. But I'm going to go ahead and start. So again, this is a payroll quarterly town hall from University Personnel. We're going to be featuring our payroll group. They are a small but mighty group. They are the ones who make sure that everybody gets paid each month or bi-weekly. So we really rely on them and want to take care of them because they're the ones who get the information in for us. We do, just a reminder that we don't issue the paychecks here at San Jose State. It's through the state controller's office. So our team is working very closely with the state controller's office and works with the guidelines and rules that the SCO has and imposes upon us. So it's really important for us to get them the right information on time. So there are many, many deadlines the payroll group is facing throughout any given month. So I'm just going to pass along now the baton to our senior director, Anita Vasquez, for operations. She oversees the payroll group. So I'm going to let her introduce the team and take it from here.
Thank you, Joanne. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're excited to have this town hall to cover payroll and what this team does for the campus. So I'd like to start off by introducing our payroll manager and employee support services manager, Taryn Ashley.
Good morning.
Our senior payroll services representative, Mar Sadhu.
Good morning.
And following her, we have 4 payroll services representatives. We have Lagaya Barber, Kevin Jones, Castell Rawls, and Shiloh Banderas, who are joining us. And so Taryn's going to talk about the whole world of payroll and what they do and how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to you, Taryn.
Thank you, Anita. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to go through a lot today, but we wanted to start off with, you can go on, Carrie. We wanted to briefly go through the UP website to make sure you know how to find the information that we are going to be discussing today. And so on our website, we have 2 main sections. The My Pay is geared towards the employee point of view, so you can find help on your own time entry, understanding your paycheck, as well as information on charitable contributions and verification of employment. The tools and resources is geared toward the department side, so managers, timekeepers, on how to do things for their own employees. Okay. So here's, sorry, more information on the My Pay. So you can see time and absence entry, approval, all the links that are there for you. So we'll go on to the next one. And under tools and services, or sorry, tools and resources, we're going to kind of go through just briefly and highlight the department side of things. So under compensation, you can find how to request compensation changes for your direct reports, but you can also find information on the paycheck distribution. And that's what is critical for what we're going to be discussing today. You can also find information for the department time and absence approvals timekeeper entry, and how to do position management. So the position management, sorry, can you go back 1 second? Under the, you can find the guides on how to approve absences, but for position management, the reason why this is so critical is because absence management relies on a reports to manager for time approval. So if your positions, your direct reports don't have the correct reports to manager, then their time won't be able to be approved. We don't manage the process, it's just critical to us. Okay, so next we'll look at the calendars, and we do have several different calendars. The one, we have the direct deposit. I'm going to skip over AY for now. So we have the direct deposit posting dates on here, as well as the deadline calendars. The one I want to drill into is the AY calendar. Well, I think I'm lost. Okay, so for academic employees, the way that their pay is split up is 6 checks per semester. So they receive checks for the fall through January. And if they work the entire academic year, then they'll get their spring semester pay will start in February. If you scroll down, you can see if they teach fall only, they'll get their 6th check in the fall. And if they teach spring only, they'll get their checks February through July. So what this means is for academic year employees who teach the whole year, their 6th check for the fall will not be issued until the following August. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I just wanted to show you that this calendar is here because it's really important.
I just wanted to interject something, Taryn, so because there does, if I can, but academic, for the, can you just go back to that calendar? For the academic employees and for lecturers in particular, I don't know if there's any lecturers on now, but sometimes it can be confusing because of the way these paychecks are split up and the fall paycheck is split. And you'll see this most acutely when there's a time-based change between semesters. And so we try to emphasize this as much as possible in any kind of training we do, because there are these very odd types of calendar things going on here, which is because of the SCO, which I mentioned at the beginning. We do have to follow the way the SCO issues these checks. So just wanted to add that. Thank you.
And we'll also talk more about that later. It comes up several times in the presentation because it is so critical. So let's go back to the presentation, and then we're gonna move on. And this part is just easier to show online. So we're just gonna go to the website and I'll walk you through some of the ways we can find this. So when you're on the forms and documents, you can search for a particular payroll form by typing into the search bar. So if you're looking for direct deposit, you can search for it that way. But you can also click on forms by category and look under payroll, and you can see all the payroll related forms. So there are 2 different ways that you can find the forms. And then again, under the tools and resources main link, if you go to the help, you can see information about the payroll frequently asked questions. So there's a lot of information here. And then we also have where you can look up who your payroll technician is. And that way you can look up by your department and you can find a specific payroll technician that you want to reach out to. And we also have our general email, which is payroll-services@sgsu.edu, that you can always reach us there. Okay, so let's go back. So that gives you just an overview of how to find the information on the website. So we're going to talk in more depth about each of the things that we just went over. I just wanted to make sure you knew where to find them on the website. So I wanted to give a little bit of information about payroll in general. You can go on to the next slide. Skipped one, sorry. We also have SJSU, 1.sjsu, where you can find all of the tiles of how to enter your time. So if you go to 1.sjsu and search for PeopleSoft HR, you can find all the tiles that you need to get you to where you need to go for your payroll information. So to change your address, enter your time, all that information. Okay, so now we're ready to dive in deeper to the payroll. So as Joanne mentioned, the paychecks are actually issued at the state controller's office. And we actually have 2 paydays, which I think everybody is pretty aware. We have the payday at the first of the month, which is for all of our staff, faculty, and then we have our student payday on the 15th. But we also have 2 separate calendars. So we have a regular monthly calendar that is determined by the state controller's office, and each pay period has 21 or 22 days. And this is the payday on the first of the month for all of our regular staff, 12-month faculty, MPPs, et cetera. We also have the academic year calendar. Now, this calendar is determined by the campus with a lot of strict guidelines, but we still set up that calendar, and that is what the academic year calendar is, what we showed you, where they get 6 equal checks per semester. And that's why it's so critical and has such an impact when there's any type of change. So if we could go back, I'm going to go into that a little bit more, but I also wanted to talk about, sorry, can we go back to the presentation? Yeah. So with those 2 calendars, the monthly calendar we do on the first day of the pay period. The hourly employees, which are our student assistants and our intermittent hourly staff, they also follow the state monthly calendar, but their time is paid after it's reported. So their payday is on the 15th of the month. And with our paycheck distribution, you have to have a warrant rep authorization on file in order to pick up checks. And checks are released on those paydays from specific hours that we'll talk about later. And employees are not allowed to pick up their own check. So if we go on again to the next one. So the academic tenure track positions, now they follow the academic year calendar. So they still get 6 checks per semester, which starts from the October 1 payday through the end of the year. The difference with the tenure track is that they also have an orientation period that we call Jumpstart. And for this period, they're appointed to a 12-month position, and so they get that paycheck at the beginning. So they're paid for August orientation, and they're paid on September 1 for the orientation. I see a mistake in the slide. And then they get their first academic year check on October 1st. So that is brand new tenure track faculty. So if you have a faculty that starts in the spring, they still get the same orientation, and they'll get paid for their orientation on February 1st, and then they'll get their first check for the academic year on March 1st. And then ongoing, their checks will be the first of the following month. And so, as Joanne mentioned, the checks are actually issued by the state controller's office, and then they're sent to us through a courier. So whenever you have late documentation or late appointments, it can really delay when we have checks available to the department. So we're going to be saying that over and over throughout the entire presentation. These deadlines are critical. We rely on other people outside of our campus that's outside of our control. And so we don't arbitrarily choose these deadlines. They're giving you as much time as we can possibly give you while still allowing us to do what we need to do to get your check available on time. So we can go on to the next one. And this is for the AY lecturers. So they do not participate in Jumpstart. So their first check, so if the semester starts on August 17th, the first pay period runs from August 17th all the way through September 30th, and their first check is on October 1st. And because of this, late starts have a really substantial impact on academic year faculty because the front end of the semester is so front loaded. And like we said before, I'm going to say it again, 6 checks per semester. That means that there are still months where there are no days that faculty are still getting paid. So over the summer. So it's split out evenly to help with benefits and to help faculty know they have a specific amount to count on for the entire year and to cover benefits. So that's why it's done that way. So we can go on to the next one. And then we have the 12-month tenure track faculty. They follow the same monthly calendar as everybody else, staff, MPPs, all the other salaried monthly employees. They are paid based on the state calendar, first day of the month following that appointment. Okay, so that was a lot of information about paychecks. So I'm going to stop for a second and see if there are any questions. Okay, looks like we're okay to keep going. Okay, so now we're going to dive into the specific information of how you can update your information. So updating your address is done through PeopleSoft, and you can search for the tile like we talked about in before. But once you change your address in PeopleSoft, that feeds over to payroll, where we update your address in the state controller's office system. And they are 2 separate systems. So once we in payroll update your address, it will then feed into the other systems, CalPERS, any health, your health provider. That's how they will get your updated address, is from the state controller's office system. So it's very important that you keep your address up to date, not only so that you receive your W-2, but also so that your address is updated with those other entities. So we'll move on to talking about changing your withholding. And right now, there's not an option to do this online. This is something that the state controller's office is working on for the future to have through Cal Employee Connect, which we'll talk in depth about. But right now it does have to be through this online form. So you will come here to the form, it's through DocuSign, and you submit this form. It comes to payroll, and then we update it in the payroll system, and it will be effective for your next paycheck. One thing to note about this is that we cannot provide tax advice. So we can't tell you what to claim on your form. We can tell you what the impact will be of what you want to do. There is a paycheck calculator that we can point you to that will tell you what your net pay will be based on the changes that you make, but we can't tell you what you should claim because taxes are very personal. There's all types of outside information, so we cannot give tax advice. Okay, so let's go on to our favorite topic, Cal Employee Connect. I love Cal Employee Connect, so I am going to push this. Everybody should register. And if you don't have a check stub to register, you can email our payroll services email, and we can get you the information that you need to register. Because on here, you can go to the next one. Once you register for this site, you will be able to enroll and change your direct deposit. You can also view your paychecks. And when you're viewing your paychecks here, it's a lot easier to follow. There are more detailed descriptions. It's your official state controller's office paycheck. And if you're on direct deposit, you can actually download a copy that looks just like the direct deposit statements that we used to get. If you're not enrolled in direct deposit, you can't download it because it would be a physical check. So you can only look at it online. So everybody should get in direct deposit.
I just want to second that. I want to second that because it's really awesome. Once you're on it, like Taryn was saying, like you get to see your typical warrant, your pay warrant that we were all used to seeing and getting it on paper. Has all the detailed withholdings, everything's there. It's really clear. You can compare like one statement, like one paycheck to the previous month's paycheck, and kind of see if there's been any changes. It's really, really helpful and so convenient. You can get your W-2s there as well. So I just wanted to put my pitch in there too.
Can I add something really quick, Taryn?
Yeah.
About the direct deposit form, making changes. If you're going to change your account or your bank, or you're going to cancel, please contact your payroll representative. Because if we don't know what's going on, state controller's office isn't going to know what's going on, and your monies can possibly float around trying to get to the right account. So if you want to add to that, Taryn, please do.
Okay. So with the W-2s, it's important because you can not only get your current and prior W-2s, but you also can get corrected W-2s. And that happens sometimes if there's a change that's made to your taxable income, then they'll issue a corrected W-2. And so you can see the before and after. So there's a lot of really valuable information on here, and they're planning on adding more and more and more in here. So I am going to take a deeper dive into the direct deposit. So let's move on to the next slide. So when you're here, you have to enroll in, they call it MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. And this is for security reasons. So it is a requirement. If you do not set that up, then you won't be able to do direct deposit. However, you can still enroll in CEC and use the other benefits of viewing your information. You just won't be able to do direct deposit. So if you want to cancel your direct deposit, you can't do it online because it's really important that you contact us immediately. So if your account is compromised or you've already closed your account, that's what Anita was mentioning, is that then your money it's sent off to the bank and the bank can't deposit it in your account, and it can really delay when you get your funds. So if you need to cancel, always call us, email us. You can fill out the form that we showed you on the website. However, it's best if you want to cancel, just call us, and we can call the SCO and have it done immediately. If you want to change your direct deposit, so your account's not compromised, you're just changing banks, you can change your direct deposit through CEC. Just make sure that you don't close your old account before you see the new deposit in your new account. And if that is not an option, then you want to cancel your existing direct deposit and set up a new enrollment. So I'm not sure if there's any questions on direct deposit. Okay, then we can go on to the next one. Okay, so for reporting, so we're going to now dive into the whole time and absence reporting and how to view all of your time and everything. So we're not announcing any changes. It's still the same process. Employees are still responsible for reporting their own time, overtime, absences, shift, unless their department has made arrangements to have a timekeeper enter on their behalf. Okay, so then we have two, just like everything, we have two separate populations of people. We have populations of people which are our monthly salaried employees. They don't have to be exempt. They're just monthly employees that receive the same salary every month. They get paid automatically. So they don't have to report the hours that they work. They only report absences or additional time. And then we have employees that are intermittent hourly, which are our student assistants, or we also have intermittent hourly staff. And the intermittent employees must report the actual hours that they work before they receive pay. So employees report all of that time, and it's critical that the intermittent hourly employees, and also for monthly employees reporting absences, it's critical that time is reported on the day that it was actually worked. So sometimes, for example, a student may have forgotten to input their hours by the deadline, and it can be a little cumbersome to try to get that paid later. And so, for example, a student might be encouraged to report their hours in the current pay period, and we want to stop that. That should never happen. So there's always a way to get the time entered on the day that it actually was worked. And we want to make sure that we follow that It's really important. And I also want to use this opportunity just to say students cannot work more than 20 hours per week. And this is not a recommendation. This is actual requirement. This is an IRS rule, regulation. It's a chancellor's office policy. Allowing students to work more than 20 hours when classes are in session eliminates them from the FICA exemption, which means we need to put them into retirement. They need to pay into Medicare. And it's also a violation of chancellor's office policy. So it is the department's responsibility to make sure they're not letting their students work more than 20 hours when courses are in session. When courses are not in session, then they can work up to 40, but they're never allowed to work overtime. And that is combined with all positions on campus. Okay, so that is the entry of time worked. If you want to be a timekeeper and have access to enter time for other employees, that does require training. So you need to email us and we can set you up for training. So next we'll go into reporting absences. Okay, so there are appropriate uses for sick and vacation, and they're covered by the collective bargaining agreements. So you can read your own specific language in there. And if you have any questions on that, then you can reach out to our labor relations folks. We're not going to get into that today, but we really want to encourage you to enter your absences as you take them. Don't wait until the end of the month. And saying that, we still want you to enter them in the current month. Don't be late, but you can, if you miss the deadline for whatever reason, you can go back 3 months and enter a prior month's absence. And then they would be approved by the manager, and then payroll will do an adjustment. And you can also enter absences 2 months in advance. So if you know that you're going to be absent or you have vacation, you can always enter that in advance.
But I'm gonna just interject here too. We prefer the advance rather than the prior.
Correct.
As some of you may know or may have experienced, when there's information that's not provided timely, like in the month that it happens, like Taryn was saying, like the month, the days that were worked during that month, or the absences, or when somebody didn't work, it really causes a kind of a chain, domino effect, a snowballing of just different things and problems that can happen. With people maybe not getting paid the correct amount and then having to maybe collect, from people who have been overpaid. So it's really, really important that things go in timely and that we aren't doing things backwards. So I just wanted to put that in there. It just helps everybody along the way.
And then with that time entry, managers should automatically have access to enter time for their direct reports. So managers, under their navigation, they will have approve absences, and then they also have manager absence entry. And that allows a manager to enter absences for their own direct report. So if, for example, you have an employee who is out sick at the end of the month and they haven't entered their absences, the manager can go in without any extra training or access and enter that absence for that employee. And the employee will get an email that says, Taryn has entered an absence on your behalf, or the name of that manager. And about the partial sick days, exempt employees cannot enter partial sick days, but non-exempt employees can enter partial sick days. Exempt employees need to enter absences in full day increments. And then there are some other, again, it's collective bargaining driven. So it's really important. That was just a general statement. There are some other conditions that apply to that. So if you have a specific question about yourself, it's always best to go to labor relations. Okay, so we can go. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the viewing the absence balances. And there's always a lot of questions about when do you get to see your balances? And it's the theme of everything. We have two of everything. So we also have 2 absence calendars. So we have the absence calendar for the intermittent hourly employees that we have to finalize first, because intermittent hourly staff still earn sick and vacation that they might have used, and we need to process and finalize their calendar so we can push that time over for payment before we can start moving on to the monthly calendar. So we try to have the monthly calendar finalized by the 15th of the month, but we're always chasing approvals, and the late approvals delay the entire campus. So it's just really critical to get all of the time entered and approved on time, because when that happens, we can bump up our deadline of when we finalize a little bit earlier. So right now we're shooting for the 15th, but we would definitely like to have it more around the 10th if we can get everybody entering all of their time and getting it approved on time. So we are going to take a deeper dive into CAT donations, because that was another one that we had a lot of questions on, and we'll also look more at prior period entries. So let's go look at some details about how to view your balances. So everybody on the has a tile for view your leave balances. And when you go in there and you click on the details button, then you can see the detail of all of your different types of paid leave that you have. And if you notice on that first line on this screenshot, it shows the February calendar and it says current not finalized. And that just means that we have not finalized the February calendar yet. We actually won't even start on that until later in March, after we finalize the hourly calendar. So absences must be reported by the March 1st, because March 1st is included in the February pay period. And that goes back to that state pay period that the SCO determines. It's not our choice to have pay periods that don't follow a calendar month. That is mandated by the state controller's office. So once all of the entries are in and we start processing it, that's when you'll be able to see the information, more information on the details. So you will never see earned in the column that says sick earned. That will never populate until we finalize the calendar. But you will be able to see the takes, any adjustments, and any CAT leave as soon as the calendar is being processed and it's been approved. So you might see some balances there that make you wonder, hey, where's my accrual? But don't worry, it'll show up and you'll see your earned as soon as we finalize the calendar. And then you just click on the different tabs to see your different balances. And if you don't have any, then there just won't be any information there for you, but the tabs are pretty consistent. So let's go on to CAT leave. So CAT is our catastrophic leave donation program. And the way that this works is that CAT leave is used in the order that it's received normally. So if we don't need it, we're not going to use it. It also means that you might see the deduction show up here in a month later than when you submitted it. So you could submit a donation in January, but if that specific recipient didn't need to use the time in January, then you're not going to see it deducted from your balance, because we won't take it from your balance until it's actually used. So you don't need to submit a separate form later on if you don't see the usage. We just will use it if we need to. Let's see. We cannot bank donations. That's another question that we get a lot. So you have to donate to a specific employee. And if we don't use that donation for that particular leave, then those hours, they stay with you. We cannot, we don't deduct them and put them in some bank to use later on or give to somebody else that's in need. You can submit multiple donations to the same person. If you submitted 8 hours in January and then you wanted to submit another 8 hours in March, that's totally fine. You can also submit donations to multiple recipients. The only thing is that you can't donate over the maximum, and that is 40 hours per fiscal year for all collective bargaining units, except for Unit 1, which is the physicians, and Unit 11, which is the teaching associates who are eligible for sick leave. But all the other employees who earn leave credits can donate up to 40 hours per fiscal year. And when we use your donation, you will see it here under the either the sick leave or the vacation, whichever you donated, it'll show up on that tab, and it'll show up in the month that we deducted it from you in the catastrophic leave donated column. Okay, are there any questions that we need to look at for cat leave?
I don't have any in the Q&A.
Okay. Let's go on to prior period absences. So this is a fun one because this is actually one that people tend to not notice. But when you're entering an absence, you can also view prior period absences. So if you notice on this page, there are two boxes. The one at the bottom is enter new absence events, and that's where you do your reporting. But you can also view existing absence events by changing that from date. And you can look at a specific period. So if you want to look at what you did in, January of 2022, you can do that. Or you can look at all of your events going as far back as January or June 2026 or 2006, sorry. And then the next one, we'll talk about the last updated by and the status, and that's on the next slide. So last updated by is who was the last person who updated it. It's, it's right there. Administrator means that central payroll did the update. If it was your manager that last approved the time, then you're going to see that. The status, if you click on actual where the blue link that says finalized, that is going to show you who entered the event and whatever action has happened since then. So it would show if there was a change to it, if there's a timekeeper that reviewed it, whatever action has happened, it's going to show you the date and the time here. So this is a question we actually get in payroll. Who approved this event? Well, this is where you can see this. And again, this page, this view and approve absences, it's available to employees, timekeepers, and managers. So there's the employee view and report absences, there's a timekeeper, and there's a manager page. They all look the same. They all have the same features. Okay. So the next thing we want to talk about is this reporting structure. And so we kind of talked about it multiple times throughout, but it's really critical. And the reason is absence management looks only at the reports to manager. And that's in job data. Everybody has a reports to manager. And if the reports to manager is not correct, then nobody will be able to approve time for that employee, approve absences. And the difference with that is that the timesheet for student time, for overtime, that's by department ID. And so that takes specific access to get, you have to have access to the department ID in order to approve that time. And multiple people can have access to that department ID to approve the time. It's unlimited. As many people as they want to approve can have that. With the absence management, it's the reports to manager, and then if they designate an alternate. And if they want to have an alternate approver, there still has to be a manager in that position. So if you have an alternate that is an alternate for a department chair, and that department chair returns and there's a new department chair, that alternate is reporting to the wrong person. Nobody's going to be able to, or the alternate is the alternate for the wrong person, then nobody's going to be able to approve all of those employees until the reports to manager is corrected. So it's really important that you submit those. Normal requests are going to take about a week. But if you have to change a whole department, if you have a high level manager with a lot of direct reports, that's going to take some time because the folks who do position management have to go into each one of those employees individually to update their reports to managers so that someone can approve their time. And the same thing, I'm just going to throw it in here now because I'm thinking about it, is when somebody separates. If you have a direct report that's separating, it's very important to approve their time as soon as possible, because once that date comes, then nobody can see them anymore. And every time one of those things happen, then it means payroll has to step in and try to do those approvals or entries or adjustments. And that's not ideal. So the next slide too talks about the report that you have available for you. And so departments can run this. We recommend you run it every month, no later than the middle of the month, so that you can check your reporting structure and see if you need to submit any changes on that form. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the report, unless there are any questions. I think this is a break before we go into a new topic. Okay, we seem to be good.
We have no questions.
Okay, so our last topic that we're going to talk about is what we call DOC, which is informal leave without pay. This is when an employee has absences and they do not have sufficient paid time off to cover them. And we do have a DOC reporting form located on our website. It's normally submitted by the department timekeeper. It could also be by a manager. It's critical that this information gets turned into us no later than payroll cutoff. And on the calendars page that we showed you earlier, we do have a calendar of what our cutoff dates are. So you can always refer back to that calendar. And you can always send the form. You can send the form into your, what would really be ideal is if they all came into the payroll email. And we are going to be working on changing this form so that they're not going to a specific technician, because if they're out, then nobody will get the form and then we can't process it. So we'll be updating the instructions on the form of where to submit it, but it would be great if it could come into the payroll email or the fax number, because then somebody else can get it if your regular payroll technician is not in that day. And so what we do when we get that doc form is that we can adjust their check and have it issued correctly. If we get it after the cutoff, then their check is going to have issued for the full amount. And if they're on direct deposit, we can pull that back and issue a new direct deposit. But if they're not on direct deposit and they have a paper check, we're kind of stuck because we can't have that check reissued. We have to wait until it's delivered to the campus and we have to send it back to the state controller's office, have them redeposit it. And it's a lot of work. We have to get a campus check and it's not pleasant for the employee. It can also lead to accounts receivables where the employee is overpaid and has to pay back money to us. So reporting docs on time is critical. Anita, is there anything you want to add on that? Okay. So that, go ahead.
Yeah, just as long as the doc forms are submitted on time, it's such a huge impact on the department and the employees if we get behind and getting these docs turned in on time and entered in payroll. It will avoid a lot of overpayments.
It generates just a lot of, I think, anguish for employees, right? Who
Yes.
have it happening to them. And then, it's difficult on our end because of dealing with this SCO, as Taryn was saying, there's just complications with that and timeline and timeframes, and just causes a lot of issues. So timeliness is greatly appreciated.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, so that was actually our last topic. So we would want to open it up to questions if there are any questions.
There are items in the Q&A.
I have some, yeah, I'm getting over there. So there was questions about exempt employees having to charge time. So we did talk about that a little bit. So if you are an exempt employee and you come in and leave for the day, you do not charge partial hours. The only time that would really happen is if you're an exempt employee on some type of FML leave, then that's the only time that partial hours would need to be reported, and that would be through the leave unit, the leave department. Let's see what else.
Here's an interesting question. Can you dock pay instead of using sick vacation time? I think that means
Yeah.
instead of,
So if you have
time.
time, right? So we don't like to dock pay if it's not necessary. If you're requesting time off, you have vacation, you would use that, of course. If you've planned a vacation and you don't have enough time, you would absorb your vacation time, and then you would be placed on dock status for the remainder of the time that you're off. That would be a conversation you would have with your manager.
Yeah, and that's important to add that it's informal leave without pay is still approved time off. So it doesn't mean you can be as absent whenever you want if you don't have leave credits. It's still approved time off.
We have a question here. Do intermittent employees still need to submit no leave taken and absence?
Yes, they should.
Let's see, donations, so catastrophic donations. If I have a question here, I submitted donation but forgot how much I donated. How can I check? And just want to
Please
that they
email. Please email this payroll-services@sjsu.edu and we can check into that for you and let you know how many hours you donate. And another thing too, if you want to just submit another donation, you can. We're not going to overuse. We're not going to overcharge your vacation. So we have very generous people that will donate 80 hours. We're not going to deduct 80 hours. We do check and make sure that nobody goes over the 40 hour or 16, depending on their.
Okay. Another question. In PeopleSoft, when I view my monthly schedule, it shows I have the entire months of February and March of 2022 off as planned absences. Is this a glitch in the system? I think we'd have to look at that.
Yeah, I'll take your name down and I can look into that for you.
Okay.
This is Carrie. I'm going to throw in an answer to that question. My guess is that has to do with the work schedule that this employee is on. So we can look at that, Susan, and see. That's my guess, is that it's a work schedule that we need to adjust. Sorry, you couldn't have both months off. Sorry.
Here's another question. Quite often I have seen that the reports to is empty in PeopleSoft for usually temp faculty. However, how is the approver decided then? Where is that info present? In position management or elsewhere in PS? So that's usually when someone has left and there hasn't been an update in that position for people to show up under reports to. We've been running into that quite often lately. So that causes an issue for the folks that need to approve time. So that's when we were talking about the PMAF. It's so critical that things are submitted on time to avoid. So what do you do in the meantime? How does the absences get approved if there's no reports to?
It can only be in central payroll. So they would have to email me or their payroll technician.
Right.
And it needs to be, there still needs to be management approval for that. So we wouldn't be able to approve it just off an email unless the manager's approving it.
Okay, so again, crucial, PMAFs to be submitted timely. But you know, we're here to help and we'll do what we can to get that done for the month. So we can close on time, close the calendar on time. Exempt employee questions are still coming in. Partial hours for vacation, no. If you're an exempt employee, it's whole day, 8 hours, whatever your schedule is that you're working.
Alma had the question about the PMAF for temporary changes. And in that case, if somebody's going on leave, they're still going to be that person's reports too. So in that case, we would ask to have an alternate. So if you want to reach out to me in those cases, we can set up somebody else as the alternate approver while somebody is out on leave. And then we don't have to make all the changes to job data.
There's a comment here. I thought timekeepers were no longer in existence. Karen?
No, that's not accurate. We have timekeepers that are entering time, approving time for student employees. Well, mainly entering. If they have the access and a student doesn't report their time, then they can report it on their behalf.
Okay. How do I find out who my payroll representative is?
And that is on the link that Carrie is going to show us again.
Okay. Thank
You
you.
look up by department, and then it will show you who your UP representative is for everything. And right now we do have a vacancy. So Tracy has unfortunately moved on to greener pastures, and we are going to be
Not different
recruiting.
pastures, not necessarily greener, but different.
So in the meantime, if Tracy was your wonderful payroll representative, you can email me directly, or you can email the payroll services email, and then we'll all be checking in there and getting back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you. Okay, we have somebody who has a live check from February of 2020 for a lecture. What do you do with that? You're going to want to send that back to your assigned payroll representative. Live checks are only good for 1 year. So after that, they're still dated. And so during the pandemic, a lot of offices were closed, checks were released. So if you have any checks, live checks lying around, please return those to your payroll representative and they'll take care of it. Let's see. I tried to access the cat leave donation. I don't have access. I donated to a coworker and do not know that was used. So if you can send that question to Taryn, she can help you out with that. Okay. Under what circumstance can you be asked to make up missed partial time when you have exempt status?
That's not really a question for us. We'll take that offline.
Okay, let's see. No, the check is not valid. Sylvia, again, go ahead and send that to your payroll rep. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're gonna show that list of who your payroll reps are. If my tax exempts are 0, I am wondering why I'm charged taxes every year.
So if you claim exempt on your taxes, it does expire every year and you have to resubmit an exemption every January. And there is a notice that's mailed out that comes from the state controller's office. And that's if you're claiming exempt from federal or both. So if taxes are being withheld, then you just need to submit again.
Okay, who is the primary responsible unit behind the calendar / schedule?
What calendar schedule?
I don't.
Like the master calendar, payroll calendars is how I read that. Right?
Okay, so the calendar the payroll calendar is determined by the state controller's office. And payroll creates the calendar that's posted on the website, but we don't determine the dates. That's determined by the state controller's office. And the academic year calendar is determined by various departments on campus under strict guidelines.
Okay.
So I am noticing we're kind of running out of time. So there are a lot of questions coming in, which is great. And I just wanted to let people know that we will be answering any questions that we get. And we're going to compile that as we've done in previous town halls. And Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but Carrie takes care of posting like the video, the questions that we've gotten with the answers. So if we don't get to everything, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that out there.
Yes, we will post the video, the slides, and all the Q&A. And then we'll send out a message to campus once everything is posted so that everyone has a chance to go in and look whether you attended today or not. So if you didn't get your question answered today, we will definitely get it answered like on a spreadsheet format so everybody can see that.
Okay, just really quick, if you're coming from one CSU, if you're going from one CSU to another, so someone's transferred here, what is the time frame from getting the transfer data form completed to get the hours moved over, sick leave and state service?
That's kind of impossible to answer because it's not up to us. Sometimes we get those forms before the person even starts. And if that's the case, then we're going to do it in that first month. And then there are other cases where we're working with the other campus to try to get that information and we have to send follow-up requests. So it's hard to give an exact timeline because it's out, some of it is out of our control, but we do follow up on those with the other campus and we try to get those entered as soon as possible.
Thank you. Okay, can the same person approve absences and also pick up checks?
I believe that is a no.
All right, so
I see a question that came in. I know that a lot of people are wondering about this. Will Juneteenth be added to the calendar? So it's my understanding that Juneteenth is up for approval by the board, the March Board of Trustees meeting. So out of that would be, what needs to be changed in the calendar.
okay.
We are closing down here. I want to respect people's time. We did schedule this till 11, but again, we will be answering all the questions and that will be released to everybody in due time shortly. Hopefully we'll have all this posted. But just a closing, I just want to kind of emphasize a couple of points that maybe one point, and basically timely reporting is so important. And we just appreciate that so much, and it just avoids a lot of issues. So timely reporting means like if there's no leave taken in a month, you report your time. That's what you've done in that month. Your absences, if there's any docs, if there's any overtime, report it at the end of the month. And what I do is put a calendar reminder on your calendar for the end of every month so that you are entering your time, approving time if you're somebody who approves time. Just want to remind people it's February 28th today. So this pay period is February 1st, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I looked at the calendar, February 1st to March 1st is this current pay period. So the last day of the pay period is tomorrow. Payday is March 2nd. So go out there and approve time, enter your time and approve time if you're a time approver. We would really appreciate that. Again, put that reminder on your calendars and just enter whatever you need to enter, and that would just resolve a lot of issues before they happen. So that's what I'd like to end with. And I just wanted to end with thanking people for attending. Really appreciate your interest and attendance and all your questions. This way we can, hopefully get the answers that people need and are thinking about out there. And we will continue our series of town halls. We'll do the next quarterly one in the spring. And I wanted to thank Taryn and Anita and their team, their payroll team. Thank you so much. You make sure that we get paid, and we really appreciate that out here. So
Thanks, everyone.